Hello YouTube, this is the A-Trap here again for our last episode of our very basic redstone overview. I do have to apologize, this is going to be a very short episode. I was hoping to cover more stuff, but I just simply don't have time this week. I also need to apologize, there is not a new episode of the Bretopolis series this week. I simply did not have time in my life to record an episode that actually accomplished anything. I found that clearing the water is taking much longer than I expected, and I haven't had a lot of time to actually spend on Minecraft itself, so I haven't been able to accomplish anything worth showing. But I promise that as soon as I can, I will release an episode that will show a lot of progress, and I hope you all enjoy. I also am working on a new Blocked Bros episode. It'll be my first in the series. It's a world that my brother and I are both working on, and we now have his brother-in-law and maybe some other people. So stay tuned for that. Should be fun. But anyway, let's get along with it. What we needed to cover is hoppers and observer blocks. So our first thing is our hoppers. What are hoppers? Hoppers are iron-based items that are made with iron and chest that transport items from one place to another. So what we actually have here is we have a chest, and then we have a hopper, and another hopper, and another chest. And basically, hoppers will draw anything out of any item above them, like a chest, or a trap chest, or another hopper, or a hopper minecart, etc., and move it along in the direction that it is pointing. So this one is actually pointed down. You can see there's a little tip on the end there that is pointed down into this hopper. Now this hopper, you can see there's actually a point going into this chest here. And so what you can do is you can place them down, just right click on what you want it to point into. Now if you need to point a hopper into another hopper, you'll need to shift right click to get it to go, and you'll see this is a line of hoppers all leading into this block, which obviously nothing can get pushed into this block, so that's a pointless thing, but that shows how they direct items. So what you can see is if I go ahead and I put my redstone lamps here, you'll see that the number starts to decrease and it goes away. And that's because it is currently being sucked out by this guy and pushed into here, and then it's being sucked out by this guy and pushed into here. So you'll see they're all showing up right here. Now, something to note with hoppers, if I turn this on, you'll notice they're still getting sucked out of here. And they're going into this, and then they're not building up here because this is pushing them into this. But this would not currently be sucking it out, because what happens is when a hopper gets power, it no longer does its job. So this is not sucking things out, and it's not pushing them along. However, like I said, this was still pushing them into it because this is still doing its job, and its job is to push everything into this. So it was doing that, but it wasn't pushing them along or sucking them out. So it will hold them in here, and then as soon as I go ahead and turn off the power, you'll notice that it continues the process. So now it is pushing them into here like it normally would. And so we will take those back out. Now, something to note, chests, we noticed everything was dropping out. Now if I go into this trap chest that's on top, you'll notice that it is not having anything come out of it while it's open. Now why that is because while that's open, it provides redstone power to the blocks around it, including this hopper. So this hopper does not operate while this is open. But you'll notice as soon as it closed, it did start dropping items through. And obviously this will work exactly like that did over there. So that is a trap chest and how it will interact with all of this. So now how this can be used, this is actually a line of hoppers all leading in this direction. And now if this is not active, this will actually suck items out of this hopper before this hopper has a chance to move the item along into here. So what happens is this drops down and this will push it over. Now this one will try to push it over, but before it can do that, this one will actually pull items out. So you'll notice if I go ahead and I put the redstone lamps in here, you'll notice that they start building up right here in this. However, if I go ahead and flick this lever, this will be turned on and it will no longer be sucking items out. So this is no longer filling up. So they're continuing along the path until they get to here, where this hopper, which isn't powered right now, goes ahead and sucks them out. So they go into here right now. Here. And you'll notice they're all showing up right here. And nothing is going further along. Nothing's going into any of these other ones. So you can actually utilize that method to do a bunch of different things. So like for right now, what we can do is we can turn all these on and be like, we don't want anything to drop into those first 4 chests. We want it all to make it all the way to this 4th chest. Sorry, the first 3 chests. We want everything to make it all the way to this 4th chest. So that is happening right now. But as soon as I turn off, say, the second one, now items are going to start going into the second chest here. So this is now getting items, and this one is not getting any new items because it's already done. And you'll notice that this one and this one are both empty because they've been powered this whole time. So that is how all of that works. So that's hoppers. We'll get into sorting systems and things like that later that you can utilize this method with, but for right now, that's the basic hopper information. So next is the observer block. This is an observer block right here. What this does is this side that looks like a face, it observes changes to the block in front of it. And this side that looks like a little red dot, that actually will activate a 1-tick signal when it observes that there's a change. So to demonstrate this, what I've done is this is a piston that's just a normal piston that's going to get powered by this lever here. And this observer block is facing that. So it will notice that there's a change. And when it notices there's a change, it's going to go ahead and send a 1-tick pulse over here. And what you'll see is you'll see this extend and then retract really quickly because it's a 1-tick pulse. And you saw that. And so now this is still up, but this only got a 1-tick pulse because the change only happened once. And it happens and it does a 1-tick pulse and then it stops sending signal until there's another block update. So as soon as I retract it, you'll notice it did another 1-tick pulse. It doesn't even need to be in the ground. You'll notice that pistons, even above ground, they change their state. So that will even activate it right there. Also, just placing and destroying a block will activate the piston. As we come over here, what we actually have, we have a little bit of farmland right here. And what you'll see is as I plant, it will extend it because it sends a 1-tick pulse. And each time that the plant grows up a little bit more, that will also extend it. And if we harvest it, that will extend it as well. So basically, whatever you do, that updates the block in front of it. It will make a change. Also, just tilling soil can make an observer block activate and send a 1-tick pulse. Another thing that will do it is filling a cauldron with water or taking water out of a cauldron. Because what it notices is a change and not actually taking redstone signal. What you can actually do is with a button, what you'll notice is when it turns on, you'll get a 1-tick pulse out of it. But when it turns off, you'll get a 1-tick pulse also. And since this is a 10-tick delay, so it activates for 10 ticks, which is 1 second. What you'll notice is you'll get a 1-tick pulse at the top of it and a 1-tick pulse on the falling edge as well. So it will activate twice there. This one actually just activated, you noticed, because this turned back into dirt because it doesn't have water next to it to keep it fertile. Anyway, so yeah, this one, you'll notice on the top and bottom edge of the button, it will activate. And same thing here, it will activate each time we flick the lever with a 1-tick pulse, even though we're actually turning it on and off. You'll get that same 1-tick pulse regardless of whether you're turning it on or off. So that is the observer block. We'll get into uses of all of these things and basically the uses of every single thing we've gone over so far, making some various items and some things you might actually put into a world, but that is the basic redstone world, how things work and what they do. So remember, folks, don't get trapped without me.